Alrighty, Neil with Cummins. So I'll be doing your guys' owner training for this particular unit. So this first door that we're going to open up into, inside here, this is going to be your generator control. Right down below the generator control, down here we have a couple options for you guys. So we have a toggle switch here. What this toggle switch does is it actually turns on your internal lights up here inside your enclosure. And what those do is those will stay on for 30 minutes once that button is pushed. Right beside it, we actually have our distribution panel. So right here is going to be the breaker for the battery charger. Beside it is going to be the engine accessories. That is going to be your battery charger or your battery heating pads, your CCV heater, your alternator heater. Those options are in there. This other one, this 2-pole, so that is going to be for the block heater. It's over on the other side of this particular unit. This one, this 30 ampere, is going to be for the heater. That is going to be the upper heater up here for the actual enclosure itself. Moving up, what we have here, this is going to be your generator control. For this particular one, anytime you guys come up to it, it'll be in this screen. It's known as the genset screen. The genset screen is actually half alternator, half engine. Underneath here, you actually have some soft keys. The reason these are soft keys is depending on what menu you are in, they will change. So if we need to find more information about the engine side of this, we can go ahead and select the engine button. And then again, it breaks out, gives you more information and pertains to the engine itself. Hit the alternator side. Alternator side will break it out line for line what each leg of the alternator is doing. If you guys are looking for a particular amount of load that you have on this particular generator, if you select the percentage soft key, it will go in and actually break you out for the percentages per leg and how much load and everything else you have on this particular one. So what we'll do is now we'll hit the home screen. So at any point in time anything happens on this particular unit, you can have either a shutdown or a warning happen with this unit. Warnings are saying, hey, I'm not 100%, I will operate, but I'm not happy, there's something that's amiss. Shutdown means something critical happened to operation. I am shutting down to prevent operation. And what we can do here is we will simulate it. So E-stop does create a shutdown. When this happens, you also get a little indicator up here. So this is telling you that you have a shutdown and what the fault particular for this incident is. Something else I can do for you here is I'll trip this little fuel. So now we also have a warning up here too. But as you can see, you only have one active fault across the top at one point in time. So if we need to find out what both these are, when you hit that home screen, right down below here you have faults, active shutdowns, active warnings, and then fault history. So if we go down here and look at our active faults for shutdowns, we do have a local e-stop, which tells us this is pushed. If we push the soft button, it goes to warnings, says that we are low fuel pressure. Currently, our generator is an auto. So if I go in here and hit this reset, what it does is it'll clear off our warnings. But if you notice, our shutdown is still active. This is important for you guys to understand. If you guys have a shutdown that is active on the generator, you have to go down here to stop. And what that stop does is that is a notification to the control that you have changed state. So then what that allows you to do is now you can go in here and now you can clear your shutdown. Now you can go back up in here to your auto and now you're back into your normal operating position. The key thing to remember there, shutdowns, you have to change state to stop before you hit reset to get it to clear. If you don't go into stop, it will not clear off of there. It is you telling the control, I have acknowledged I have had a shutdown, I am changing this date. I am telling it that yes, I am stopped to reset. Again, warnings, you don't have to do that. They can be cleared at any point in time as long as that fault is no longer present. But shutdowns, you have to change date. So say you do have something that happened and it's early in the morning, or a lot of stuff is happening, and you had the shutdown happen, and then you forgot to take the information that was on that particular fault, and then you get done and you're like, oh shoot, what was that fault? What you can do is you can actually come down here and go into history. If you go down to, and it's still under the fault section, go to history, and now is what it does is it breaks you out exactly what the fault, a brief description of what the fault was, the fault number here, the hours that it happened, the date that it happened, and the time that it happened. So in that way, it'll tell you exactly when everything happened or when certain instances occurred on this particular unit. Past that, that's going to be the biggest things that are going to be pertain to you guys in your control here. If you guys have to call us and need to have us come out to do a troubleshoot because something isn't wanting to clear like it's supposed to, or you can't get something figured out, or you have something that's repetitious, down here you actually have the data tag for this particular generator. So the number that we're going to want is this one here, that is known as the genset serial number. So if you guys reach out to us, contact us, give us that information, then that way we have an idea of what we're coming into, and then that way we can pull up the stuff specific for this generator. We'll move on over here to this next door. So inside here, so this is going to be your the engine for this particular generator. So we have our fuel line that comes into the generator, goes in through our shutoff valves. So these are what controls the fuel that's actually coming into our engine. Comes up, goes across, hits our mixer, and then gets taken in, and then the unit operates. Back here on this firewall here, down here at the bottom, this is going to be the battery charger for this particular unit. So as you can currently see, we are in the process of charging with the battery charger. If we move on over, we get over here to this yellow handle. So this is going to be for checking your oil level. Moving, and just right below that, this of course is going to be your coolant heater. So that's what's going to keep this operating and maintain at about 100 degrees. It's preferred just because the warmer these are, the easier they start, the better it is for operations. If we keep circling around over here onto this particular unit and look up here, we do have a surge tank, and then this little button right back here is a sight glass. So both of those, that is a good indicator for you for checking coolant level. It allows for a visual representation of what your coolant level is sitting at. We'll keep moving on over to the other side. Gas shutoff valve, and then of course your regulator here. So this controls the pressure coming into the generator. Shutoff valve will actually completely shut the fuel off to the generator. Down in here, of course, then we have our two batteries. Then from there on up, of course, then you have your oil filter, your starter, turbo. Again, as we looked earlier, here's your gas line coming in, goes in through your mixer, comes down, gets part of your intake coming in. This little fuse right here. So if you guys ever do decide that you're going to replace your batteries yourself, you can either shut the block heater off over at the breaker underneath the gen control, or is what you can do is you can come in, pop this cover open, and then inside here you got a little 10 amp fuse. You can pull that 10 amp fuse, then that way it creates a system dead. The battery charger is no longer charging the system. Therefore, you can go in and replace your batteries, put the new batteries in, put the fuse back on, battery chargers back up, and charging your system. From there, we'll move on over here. This is going to be your breaker for your output. So if at any point in time you hear the generator running, and then you get up there to your transfer switch, and we're looking at that, what you will see is there's indicator lights on that. If you've heard the generator running, or you look at the annunciator and see that the genset is running, but yet you do not have the indicator of genset available, either one, this has gone and tripped, and therefore it's not providing power up there to it, or we have something internally happening with the ATS itself to where it's not recognizing it as a source. But just as a quick reference for you guys, if it does happen, just make sure you come out, look, make sure that this hasn't tripped and it is in the closed position. And then on the back side here, you can see it better from this side. You have a louver motor, and what that does is as soon as this generator starts, it actually opens these up, and then therefore you have your airflow for this particular generator.